experience sadness and challenges, but do we have to make it into a problem? Do we have to make it into a continual suffering? Hello and welcome to today's video. This is part 3 with my special guest, Devi from California.
Thank you.
Today we are going to find out what she has in her repertoire of questions, and hopefully I can meet the challenge.
Yeah, the question I have is 2 parts, and maybe they relate to each other or not. It was about feeling sad and not suffering, and I was curious about the story of Jesus when he was on the rough waters, and he was with some of the disciples, and they were really worried because the sea was getting rougher, but he was sleeping, and then they woke him up, and I don't remember the rest of this story, but they may relate to each other, but I was just wondering about that story.
Yes,
what
he was fast asleep while the water was turbulent, and they were very scared because they felt like they're going to sink, and they could not believe that Jesus was fast asleep in such a huge storm, and he didn't seem to be alarmed or worried, and they were surprised that how can someone sleep right through a difficult and challenging situation. So with your first question, would you mind elaborating on that a little bit with happiness and suffering, you said?
Yeah, well, it was inspired by a painting that I saw yesterday. It was just a beautiful painting of a clown who was sad and playing the violin, and his eyes were heavy, and it was so beautiful. I felt the sadness of it, but yet there wasn't any suffering that I experienced. It was just being sad and no, it just felt kind of freeing. Like it's okay to be sad and yet and not suffer about it. You know, like it was a temporary thing in a way.
I feel like you already answered your own question.
Gosh.
Although, if you can elaborate a tiny little bit more, is there a question in there?
Oh, yeah, well, it seems like, I guess, yeah, it seems like we can be sad, and then not make it worse in a way by trying to have a story about it or something, but just be sad, and then and that can be beautiful too, really.
May I change a little bit of your question? To formulate the question a little bit, is the question that we can experience sadness and challenges, but do we have to make it into a problem? Do we have to make it into a continual suffering? Is that the question?
It is, yeah.
And at the same time, we're kind of answering our own questions to say, no, you don't have to. There's no rule that when you go into a difficult time, you have to make that difficult time into a bigger problem, into a problem which is only exists because your mind or your emotions, or a combination of both, or maybe other people's minds and emotions have magnified it into something. And at the same time, we can bring in the story with Jesus falling asleep or sleeping through the storm, and in his situation, when he awoke, what was marvelous is that he not only calmed his fellow travelers, his friends who were accompanying him on this journey, but he also calmed the situation, the stormy water itself. He commanded the challenge to subside. Now, right now, we're using this story to explain something regarding suffering, something regarding of challenging situations. How can we, in a way, go through a challenging situation or a situation where suffering is what we have to experience without losing that power of inner peace which Jesus had, and the mastery, the skill of calming that situation, as well as keeping ourselves and other people around us calm.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
sounds good?
Yeah, that.
So in that situation, it is self-explanatory that we have to develop the skill to act out of peace, as well as possess the knowledge that we are peace itself and that we are anchored in peace. Because what made Jesus so solid, so peaceful, is that he knew that he lacked nothing. Just like peace lacks nothing. Peace in itself is limitless. It is borderless. It is forever readily available to us all. And it is the background to all experience. Yes, we feel sometimes that as if this peace has been lost, as if this peace has been hidden from us, but in reality, the peace is always right in the midst of the experience. It makes the experience, and it is the background of the experience. And knowing this, experientially knowing this, Jesus knew this through and through, meaning he knew this because he experienced this within himself many, many times. And knowing this helped him to face any kind of challenge, any kind of situation where he has been able to keep calm, keep being anchored in the peace, and keep the other people and the situation anchored to peace.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really feel what you're saying. That. Yeah.
And also regarding the painting, if I may say something extra, we both know the artist of this beautiful painting Debbie has mentioned, and we also know that the painting was a result of someone's challenging situation, yet this person absolutely loves the painting, regardless that it had been born in times of great challenge. We can love something which is born out of a challenging situation or through a challenging situation. Many of us have been born through a challenging situation, and sometimes we ourselves bear a wonderful result through a challenging or suffering situation. Yet we can be hopeful and certain in many cases that that challenging situation will end and something wonderful will replace the lack of peace which we had experienced prior. just like giving birth to a baby.
Yeah.
It's been replaced with something amazing, regardless of how difficult or how challenging that birth may have been.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, that
Pleasure.
I really feel the peace in that, and yeah. Thank you. I learned an Australian phrase today.
Let's hear it.
On you, mate. You did good. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you for watching today. Debbie is heading back home to California. We pray that you will have a wonderful trip, and we thank God and grateful in our hearts that she was able to travel in her condition, such a long journey, and hopefully the journey home will be safe, and hopefully, fingers crossed, she will be able to come back to visit us in the future.
Oh, thank you, Maria. It's not goodbye. It's I'll see you later.
I see you later, mate. And see you later, guys. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Okay.